guys, welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I'm WiiROK and our socks off, and in this part we're actually going to go ahead and start the very first dungeon in the game inside the Great Deku Tree. So, right here, so obviously they're going to say inside the Deku Tree, but actually to be perfectly honest, I really think it's kind of unnecessary to have inside the Deku Tree. I mean, I guess that's kind of necessary, but I mean, like, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I think if you just called it the Great Deku Tree, probably would have been more like, I don't know, I really don't think it's necessary to have the word inside in there. I don't know. That's just me, though. But, actually, this is probably the easiest dungeon probably in the entire game. But look at this wall. The vines growing on it give it a rough surface. Maybe you can climb it, Link. Oh, really? Well, actually, that might not be obvious to you. Because to be perfectly honest, in the N64 days, to be perfectly honest, this really doesn't even look like vines at all. But we're actually going to see our first chest, actually, in the entire game. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and skip it, because to be perfectly honest, I don't need it. Basically, wow, this is actually kind of really weird how it did that, but you can open a door by standing in front of it and pressing A. Oh, really? Pay attention to what the action icon says. That's the green icon at the top of the screen. But basically, this is probably the easiest dungeon in the entire game. It's not going to be taking me long. I think I might even be able to finish in this one video, but I'm not honestly sure. Ow, 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 forgive me, Master. If I give you a clue, will you let me go? When you jump off a high cliff, if you hold the control stick forward, you'll roll on the ground when you land and won't get hurt from it, they'll fall. I can't guarantee it will work, though. If the cliff is really, really, really high, we'll try it if you're really feeling bold. Wahahaha! Basically, those enemies right there are Deku Scrubs. You're going to be seeing those quite a bit throughout the game. There's two different kinds of Deku Scrubs. Those are more the enemy Deku Scrubs, and the other stuff you'll see will be business Deku Scrubs. So we'll get more upon that when you actually see them. So actually, let's open the real first chest in the game. So, and we get our first dungeon item in the game, the Fairy Slingshot, which I preferably like to call the Slingshot, because, to be perfectly honest, I really don't think adding Fairy in front of it kind of makes it sound cool. It probably would have been better if they added heroes. That's kind of what they do in the later Zelda games, but a little bit more on that after I go ahead and explain the Slingshot. So, basically what the Slingshot does is, well, obviously, I mean, it's very similar to a slingshot you would imagine in real life. Basically, you can aim it around with the control stick here. A note, though, the controls when you're aiming something, they are inverted, so it's not like more of a modern game where if you were aiming it, like, up isn't going up and down isn't going down. It's down is going up and up is going down. It's a little bit confusing, but I'm so used to it now. Because I started off with that in this game, and, like, the thing is on the Ocarina of Time 3D, oh, and once again, like I was explaining before, I almost fell down, that would have been really embarrassing. Like I was explaining before, you can also use Z-targeting on, like, stuff you can aim as well. So we'll actually make, like, aiming stuff with our slingshot much more easier than just, like, actually manually pulling out the slingshot. And before I actually go on to anything else right there, is actually, that chest right there actually contains the dungeon map. What the dungeon map is basically, it just contains a map of the dungeon. Very self-explanatory, but I thought I might as well explain that to you guys, because probably some of you guys are probably a little bit curious. And right here is actually a Skulltula. Basically, the easiest thing you can go ahead and kill them with is a jump attack. Some people like to use a Deku Stick, but I think it's actually absolutely pointless. And before we do anything, to actually gain access further into the temple, Link must jump off a cliff and go down in this web. And that actually, and don't worry, I wasn't being stupid and trying to be funny. You actually need to go down in here, and what we have to do right here is actually hit the switch right here, which will actually reveal a torch. But it's not really the chest right there that we actually need. That only contains a heart. It's actually the torch itself we'll be needing. But even though this is going to be more of a casual playthrough, I think I might as well at least show one of these. Basically, right here, these are gold Skulltulas. I like Link's position on this, and he's like, But basically right there, those are gold Skulltulas. Basically what you gain is gold Skulltula tokens, and later in the game you can actually earn rewards from them. So that's actually kind of cool. So what we actually want to go ahead and do now is actually go ahead and get our Deku Stick out. And make sure not to actually go ahead and get into the water. Because if you get into the water, well, obviously, if you're actually above the age of, like, 2, you'll actually understand that water defeats fire. Really? I had no idea. So I actually like that first Deku Scrub, you just go in front of him after using your shield. But please forgive me, Master. I'll never do it again. If you spare me, I'll teach you something cool. You will never beat my brothers up ahead unless you punish them in the proper order. The order is 2, 3, 1. 23 is number 1. Do you think I'm a traitor? Yes, you are. No, actually, you're probably just, like, confusing. No, he's actually teaching us the right order. That'll actually something that we actually have to know later in the temple. But actually, a cool little reference. I actually didn't know that until, like, just recently. But the 23 is number 1 thing. It is actually a reference to Michael Jordan, but a little bit more on that. After you get into the water, if you hold down A, you can dive. I bet there are some interesting things underwater. That's actually kind of self-explanatory, but how? Well, let me actually try to pull this off, okay? Boom! Okay, that's actually a speedrunning tactic you can actually go ahead and try. I've tried that forever. Like, I actually tried to do it. I was actually originally on a, I'm not really going to go ahead and name the channel, because I don't really want to give a, I don't want to really give plugs in this LP, but, I tried to do an Ocarina of Time versus that kind of failed, because we didn't really have time to record it, and I tried to do that speedrunning tactic right there, but the thing is like, I kept on misguiding my jump, and it was actually really confusing. I mean, I've seen it, like, used perfectly before, but again, actually, it's not really the biggest, speedrunning tactic in the world, but it'll cut quite a bit of time. Stand next to this box, and grab hold of it with A. While holding A, you can push it or pull it. If you stand next to the block and press A while pressing the control stick forward towards the block, you can climb on top of it. Pay attention to what the action icon says. Something actually really annoying, actually, in this game I actually noticed is the speed of text boxes. But right here is actually a block, and you will be seeing these a lot in Zelda games. Not just in Ocarina of Time, but I think every Zelda game, yeah, every Zelda game at least contains 1 or 2 boss, not boss, well actually yes, boss, but has block puzzles, unless you want to count the CDI games, which are actually absolutely terrible. I'm actually, for the Zelda CDI games, I actually eventually want to play those games. I mean, I know they're absolutely, like, the worst games of all time, but I mean, like, I don't know, I mean, like, even though Zelda is my favorite game series of all time, and even though, I mean, Zelda CDI really isn't technically, like, a Zelda game, it's part of Zelda's history. I mean, like, I don't know, I kind of just want to play them. I mean, like, I've seen, like, videos of them before, like, it seems like they're more, like, of a side-scroller, kind of Zelda game, where you're, like, it's more like, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, but to be perfectly honest, I didn't really like that game. I mean, it's not a bad game, I've seen a lot worse, but I don't know, I mean, I think more or less, it's not really that it's necessarily the actual, like, game, it's, like, it's more that the actual game is, like, super, super hard. I mean, like, I'm absolutely terrible, like, at NES games, and, like, really even 16-bit games, too. I mean, like, the only games, like, of those eras I've actually beaten, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I'm probably gonna sound like a noob, but, like, for the 8-bit era, I've only beaten Mega Man 2, and for the 16-bit era, I've only beaten Donkey Kong Country, so I probably sound like a noob, but, I mean, those games kind of seem like they're one of the more well, not really the more harder games, but they're pretty difficult games, so maybe I can take on other Zelda games, but, or not Zelda games, other, kind of, bit games from that era, but, I don't know, I'm just kind of like kind of the mindset of, like, 8-bit or 16-bit games, I kind of, like, get worked up about it. But basically what that Deku Scrub said that about the 23 is number 1 thing, you actually want to go ahead and perform it right now. Basically, you want to hit the second one, take it Deku Scrub first, the third one, and now we're going to go ahead and hit the first one and just go in front of it, and just don't waste your time to make it get around circuits. So, how did you know our secret? How irritating! It's so annoying that I'm going to reveal the secret of Queen Goma to you. In order to administer the coup de grace to Queen Goma, strike your sword while she's stunned. Oh, Queenie, sorry about that. Oh, wow, you just told me exactly how to beat this boss. I would go ahead and maybe do the boss in this part, but to be perfectly honest with you guys, there's a cutscene after this, and I don't want to make this video too long, so I think I'm actually going to go ahead and end the part here, even though I probably would like to do this all in one video, but enough of that. So next time on Let's Play Pokemon... Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I just said the the name of my current Let's Play, my bad. But, so next time on Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, we will be taking on the boss of the Great Deku Tree. So, I will see you guys then.